Okay, I have seen your comments asking for when the series will continue, and as a random dude on the internet, I have an obligation to complete for myself and for the rest of the TF2 community. If you have not seen the first couple of videos in the series, a card should be appearing on screen directing you to the first 3 videos. But if you have, then welcome back. My name is Lennox, and today we will be diving into what a Demoman would look like with all of his weapon stats combined. I hope you enjoy, and let's dive right into the video. Demoman is a unique character in TF2 because he's the only character in the game who is Scottish, and he's one of, if not the only character who has 3 different types of weapons for his primary. He has the grenade launchers, the peg legs, and the base jumper, all on his primary slots. The bootlegger is just a reskin of the Alibabas, so I will not be doing anything with the peg legs, and same with the base jumper. With that all out of the way, let's just jump right into his primaries. Starting with the base grenade launcher, each pipe does a flat 100 damage on contact, and up to 64 damage if it bounced on the ground first. Up to 4 pipes can be loaded at one time, and you can hold up to 16 at once. If you have played the game, you know this weapon is not a hit scan weapon, and if you need to know more about hit scan weapons, I go over them in more detail in the soldier video. Basically, this weapon will take some time to get from point A to point B. The grenades travel at around 1216 hammer units per second, and you could attack every 0.6 seconds. It takes 1.24 seconds to reload the first pipe and 0.6 seconds to reload every pipe after that. One of Demoman's unique traits is that mostly no other class has besides Soldier is that he can damage himself. From a single pipe he can do up to 73 damage to himself. I cannot find exact measurements for the explosion radius on his pipes, but the wiki says it has a medium splash radius of 2.8 meters and a damage reduction of 1% for every 2.88 meters. So basically if you were 2.8 meters away from the pipe on the ground, then you will take 1% of your maximum health. I believe that's how it goes if I'm reading this correctly, but if not, then someone please educate me so I can know more about how this all works. There is also a fuse on all of Demoman's pipes that force the pipe to explode roughly 2.3 seconds after it's fired. Knowing all of the grenade launcher's base stats, let's go ahead and look and see what a combination of them all would look like. As always, let's start with the positives of this combined grenade launcher. This launcher does 20% more damage to buildings, has a 45% faster projectile travel speed, fires projectiles that push players back on impact, the double donk mechanic, and projectiles explode 30% faster on the ground. There are some people who do not know exactly how the double donk mechanic works, so here's a quick overview. Since you are using a cannonball and not a pipe, it does not explode on impact. Instead, players who are hit by the cannonball will go flying in a number of different directions based on where the cannonball hit them. If the cannonball hits them at the right spot, the player and the cannonball will both be sent upwards. The cannonball then explodes, causing mini crit damage to the player and hearing the lovely... Hopefully this makes more sense to everyone. Also, since there is no explosion on impact and the damage is cut in half, so instead of having a pipe that does 100 damage on impact, we have a cannonball that does 50 damage on impact. Hopefully all of that made sense, because now we're moving on to the downsides of this weapon. But before that, if you're enjoying the video, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know how you're enjoying the series so far in the comments below. Now back to the video. Starting us off, we have a 25% smaller clip size, a 40% less explosion radius, and that the cannonballs do not explode on impact. The cannonball must also be charged for a 1/10 of a second before being fired. The smaller explosion radius would hurt players who are trying to double dunk their opponents, but this weapon would be one that is somewhat viable. The extra stats of this weapon would be that grenades have 0 fall-off range on a direct hit, cannonballs have a fuse time of 1 second, and holding down the fire key for too long will cause a misfire. These extra stats are not as crazy as ones we've looked at before, but it is always fun learning about what the developers add into the game to help differentiate the weapons. How does all this actually change the weapon? Let's take a look. I will throw everything up on screen, but I will only touch on a few points. You can only have 3 cannonballs loaded into the chamber at once, and they only do 50 damage each since they don't explode on impact. You do more damage against buildings, your splash radius is reduced, and the projectiles travel 45% faster. Also, your fuse will expire in 1.6 seconds instead of the usual 2.3 seconds. Like I said before, the base jumper and Alibabas don't have any different variations that change anything, so we'll move on to the secondaries. Okay, this is me while I'm editing the video. I just thought I saw something funny. So if you type in Demoman on Google, it will say he's a musical artist with a few of the songs that he's released, such as Laugh, Demoman, Woo Woo Woo, Scottish Cyclops Friday, and Get Drunk, among other things. And I just thought this was hilarious. I have no idea why it's saying that he's an artist. But I just thought that was like funny. But anyways, back to the video. There are two different types of secondaries that the Demoman can use, those being Stickybomb Launchers and the shields. Starting off with the Stickybomb Launcher, it can hold up to 8 stickies before needing to be reloaded, and you can hold up to 24 in reserve. You can do anywhere from 103 to 138 damage with a sticky, and can do 45 to 114 self damage if you aren't careful with your shots. Also, you can have up to 8 stickies out at once, but they all detonate at once if you decide to detonate them. Once fired, it takes 0.7 seconds for a sticky bomb to be primed and ready to detonate. We add in 3 more sticky bomb launchers into the mix with the Scottish Resistance, Sticky Jumper, and Quickie Bomb Launcher. With this, you can destroy enemy stickies, carry 250% more ammunition, fire 25% faster, and your max charge time is decreased by 70%. Also, you do not take any self damage from your Sticky Bomb Launcher. For the downsides, the stickies have a 0.6 longer priming time, up to 80% damage penalty, 50% smaller clip, you are unable to carry pastime jack, and no random crits. Now let's talk about this one for a second. The Quickie Bomb Launcher adds a 35% damage increase only if it's fully charged. The damage does scale with the charge time, but is able to do 35% more damage fully charged. With our combined weapon, it would do 0 damage normally, but if you fully charge it, you can do up to 28 damage with the Sticky Jumper. Also, the Sticky Jumper takes away 6 stickies, but the Scottish Resistance adds 6 stickies. I just thought it was funny that these two clash with each other perfectly in this situation. With these new stats, we can see that the new Sticky Bomb Launcher would have only 4 stickies loaded at once, but an astonishing 84 in reserve. The max damage you can do is 28, but you cannot do any damage to yourself. You can have 8 stickies out at once as usual, but they need to prime for 1.3 seconds before you can detonate them. I wonder what it would look like being able to fire yourself off of 8 stickies at once then. The other secondaries are the shields. These allow Demoman to charge towards his enemies or away from danger. There's no standard version of the shield, so we'll just jump right into the combined shields. The shield would have that a charging removes debuffs. It would have a lot of resistances, like an 85% resistance to fire, a 65% resistance to explosive damage as well. It would have a 70% more impact damage, a 50% faster recharge rate, full control while charging, and a melee kill refills 75% of the charge meter. It only has one downside, which would be that taking damage while charging reduces the charge time. There's no resistance to self-inflicted damage, and it grants its abilities passively. That means there is nothing you have to do to turn on these resistances. Well, the Sticky Bomb Launcher seems to just be an enhanced Sticky Jumper that can do chip damage to classes. I see no utility in this weapon besides flying across the map. On the other hand, the shields are every Demo Knight's dream shield. One downside for all the resistances and turning in the world sound incredible. I am not a Demo Knight player myself, but I can certainly imagine how long you would be able to survive with all these buffs to your shield. These buffs to the shield do need a weapon to go along with them though, so let's look at the melee weapons. Out of Demoman's 22 melee weapons, 12 are reskins of the stock, and 2 are reskins of the Islander. That means not including the stock bottle, we have 7 weapons to add into the mix that will become this combined melee weapon. The bottle is nothing special. It does 65 damage per hit and gets swung in intervals of 0.8 seconds. It has a switch speed of 0.5 seconds and you can swing up to 48 hammer units in front of him. One neat thing is that when you get a crit with this weapon, the bottle will shatter. This is purely cosmetic, it does not affect anything else. Let's add some alterations to this bottle that will be fair and balanced. That is a lot. Let's just start with the upsides. This bottle now has a 250% longer range, can collect heads, raises shield damage with your head count, and steals heads. I won't read off everything, but I will leave it up on screen for a second so you can read and see how everything will scale. Increased capture rate, deal 20% more damage, melee kills refill 25% of your charge rate, a 0.5 seconds increase in charge duration, heal 50% of your health on kill, Ammo can recharge your charge meter, and when you hit an enemy, refill 20% of your charge meter. There is also a head that you would have that would explode on contact with an enemy, dealing an extra 75 damage. And now for the painfully long list of downsides. Yay. Upon death, lose all your heads. A 475% slower deploy and holster time speed, lowers maximum health by 25 hit points, raises bullet vulnerability to 10%, lowers speed by 15% while active, a 15% increase in damage vulnerability, which is different than bullet vulnerability. There is a head that can be destroyed, and when it is, you only do melee damage. A 20% decrease in your melee speed. This weapon is also honor bound, meaning you cannot cheat it without killing someone. And if you do, you will take 50 hit points of damage. You have an 80% decrease in your max primary and secondary ammo. You cannot refill ammo from your containers unless your charge meter is full, and you do no random crits. On a less sad note, when you hit someone, you send them in the air, and if you kill them, you turn them into solid gold statues. Also, you will one-shot any player who is wielding the exact same weapon. All of these swords come with a special taunt attack that you will be able to use at any time. It does not mean you'll get kills, but you can try it if you'd like. It's hard to visualize everything that changes on the sword, but we will look at a couple of the standard stats. The fun new bottle does 78 damage per hit, and you can swing this bottle every second. If you want to switch this weapon out, it will take 2.875 seconds to switch this weapon out or to switch into this weapon, which is a very long time in this game. Also, your sword at a standstill reaches 168 hammer units compared to the standard 48. As we can see, if you're using this weapon, you just play Demo Knight. I mean, you don't really have a choice, but if you're playing regular Demoman, please never try to switch to this weapon unless you're completely safe and out of danger. So, how do all these weapons stack up in the grand scheme of things? Well, starting off with the grenade launcher, I would put it in B tier. It's about average, and there are some things that make it good. I think the biggest thing holding it back from A tier is its inconsistency of the double dunk. That's what's knocking it down a tier, but other than that, it's a viable weapon and does not get completely destroyed by a couple of bad traits. The Stickybomb Launcher is in D tier. I know damage is not everything, but the increase in arm time does not help. The only thing keeping it from F tier is that you could theoretically put 8 down and then blast yourself super far, and that would be fun. For the shields, I would put them in the S tier. All the different vulnerabilities they have and everything about them just scream S tier. You would not know how to kill a Demoman with the shield because nothing can hurt him and he would stomp all over you. Finally, the melee. I'm putting it in B tier. If you're playing Demo Knight, the switch speed literally has no effect on you, and the way you can do more damage and have a longer range for your swing helps out a lot. You will be absolutely destroying your opponents. The only thing holding it back is that if you are not playing Demo Knight, then this melee really sucks because it takes so long to switch into. Also, it takes a couple of kills to mix your max head count, so that might take a while. And that's the video. Thank you all so much for watching. If there is anything I missed, please let me know in the comments below, and I might even give it a heart or reply. I hope you all have a great day. Peace.